Hello, readers. Welcome to our online classroom. Today, you will be learning about how to identify changes in a character in the perks of being a wallflower using the contrast and contradiction notice and note strategy. So let's get set up. The things that you're going to need today are your Perks of Being a Wallflower book, your contrast and contradictions note sheet, and a pen or a pencil. Oh, hello. So you will need your book. You will need this contrast and contradictions note sheet. You will also need a pen or a pencil. Go ahead and pause the video if you do not have those things and come on back. So today I'm going to teach you that we are going to learn some ways that an author shows us a character is changing or developing. When we're reading our books, authors want us to know what is happening in them. They want us to understand. So they leave us little clues to help us pull meaning out of the text. In most stories, there are patterns. And if we as readers can begin to notice some of these patterns, then we can help ourselves make meaning out of the text and enjoy our books more. Today, we are going to be noticing a pattern where characters in our books show us that they are changing. We're going to call this technique contrasts and contradictions. Okay, I want you to think about it this way. Think about the Harry Potter books or movies. Think about the character Hermione. She's a kid who always has her homework. She even likes to do her homework. And she likes for the teacher to know that she always has the right answer. So, what would you think if one day she came to class and she did not have her homework and she was disrespectful to the teacher? You'd probably be thinking, what's going on? It'd be weird. That wouldn't make any sense because that's not really part of her personality. That change in behavior contradicts what we have come to expect of her. But if we think about it, it might help us to understand something big about the story. When authors show us something that doesn't fit with what we expect, when they present us with a contrast or a contradiction, then we have to pause and ask ourselves one question. Why would the character do that? As I read, I'm going to be on the lookout for a place where the author shows me a character acting in a way that is a contrast or contradiction to how she has been acting or how I would expect the character to act. When you notice a contrast and contradiction, then stop and ask yourself the question, why is the character doing that? As you answer the question, you will learn more about the character and sometimes more about the problems that he or she faces. Sometimes you might even gain some insight into the theme, which is an important life lesson that the author is trying to share. All right, we're going to try to use this strategy as we read the next part of the Perks of Being a Wallflower. So let me get set up here. Good, you got your book? Okay. Like I said, we're going to try and find some contrast and contradictions in the next part of the Perks of Being a Wallflower. I'm going to read to you at first and show you what my brain is doing when I find some contrast and contradictions, and then it's going to be your turn to try. So far, we know that Charlie has started his first year of high school, and he's pretty lonely without any friends. We know that he is shy and he thinks a lot about other people. If you follow along, I'll read this next part out loud to you, and then I'll show you what my brain is doing when I find a contrast and contradiction. We're going to start on page 18. On this letter that says October 6th, 1991. And I'm going to get rid of my face. Okay, follow along with me, and let's find a contrast and contradiction. October 6th, 1991. Dear friend, I feel very ashamed. I went to the high school football game the other day, and I don't know exactly why. In middle school, Michael and I would go to the game sometimes, even though neither of us were popular enough to go. It was just a place to go on Fridays when we didn't want to watch television. Sometimes we would see Susan there, and she and Michael would hold hands. But this time I went alone, because Michael is gone, and Susan hangs around with different boys now, and Bridget is still crazy, and Carl's mom sent him to Catholic school, and Dave with the awkward glasses moved away. I was just kind of watching people, seeing who was in love and who was just hanging around, and I saw that kid that I told you about. Remember Nothing? Nothing was there at the football game, and he was one of the few people who was not an adult who was actually watching the game. I mean, really watching the game. He would yell things out. Come on, Brad! That's the name of our quarterback. Now, normally, I am a very shy person, but Nothing seemed like the kind of guy that you could just walk up to at a football game, and even though you weren't there, you were 3 years younger and not popular. Hey, you're in my shop class. He's a very friendly person. I'm Charlie, I said, not too shy. And I'm Patrick, and this is Sam. He pointed to a very pretty girl next to him, and she waved to me. Hey, Charlie. Sam had a nice smile. They both told me to have a seat, and they both seemed to mean it. So I took a seat. I listened to Nothing yell at the field, and I listened to his play-by-play analysis, and I figured out that this was a kid who knew football very well. He actually knew football as well as my brother. Maybe I should call Nothing Patrick from now on, since that's how he introduced himself, and that is what Sam calls him. Okay, I'm going to stop right there because I think I've noticed a contrast and contradiction. So let me get my notes ready. Okay. I'm going to put my name up here at the top. Okay. So a contrast and contradiction is where a character shows us something that we don't expect or they do something out of the ordinary. What did I see that Charlie did that was out of the ordinary? He went up to Patrick and Sam at the football game and he introduced himself. So I'm going to write that down right here in this column that says, what character, action, or feeling was unexpected? And I'm going to write this. And that happened on page 19. So when I find a character acting in a way that I don't expect, I need to stop and ask myself, why would the character be doing this? So let me think about this. At this point, I'm pretty surprised that Charlie would go up and introduce himself to Patrick and Sam. Even though he is very shy, he goes over and he talks to them. When I think about why he might be doing this, I think it's because Charlie is very lonely. And I'm going to make a prediction that he trusts Nothing. And maybe Nothing is going to become one of Charlie's good friends. I don't know. But this could be a turning point in the story if Charlie does actually end up becoming friends with Nothing. So let me try and capture some of that thinking. I'll say maybe he trusts nothing. Or Patrick. Oops. I'll say this. Maybe Patrick will become a friend. And I liked this thought. This could be a turning point for Charlie. Okay. So now I've captured a little bit of my thinking about how Charlie is changing, and I'm going to keep reading, and I'm going to keep looking for moments when Charlie does something that is out of the ordinary or that I would not expect. So let's get our book back out. And I stopped right here. Okay. Incidentally, Sam has brown hair and very, very green eyes. The kind of green that doesn't make a big deal about itself. I would have told you that sooner, but under the stadium lights, everything looked like a kind of washed out. It wasn't until we went to the big boy and Sam and Patrick started to chain smoke that I got a good look at her. The nice thing about the big boy was the fact that Patrick and Sam didn't just throw around inside jokes and make me struggle to keep up. No, not at all. They asked me questions. How old are you, Charlie? 15. What do you want to do when you grow up? I don't know just yet. What's your favorite band? I think maybe the Smiths because I love their song Asleep, but I'm really not sure one way or the other because I don't know any other songs by them too well. What's your favorite movie? I don't really know. They're all the same to me. How about your favorite book? This Side of Paradise by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Why? Because it's the last one I read. This made them laugh because they knew that I meant it honest, not show off. Then they told me their favorites, and we sat quiet. I ate the pumpkin pie because the lady said that it was in season, and Patrick and Sam smoked more cigarettes. I looked at them, and they looked really happy together. A good kind of happy. And even though I thought Sam was very pretty and nice, and she was the first girl I ever wanted to ask on a date, someday when I could drive, I did not mind that she had a boyfriend, especially if he was a good guy like Patrick. So, how long have you two been going out? I asked. Then they started laughing, really laughing hard. What's so funny? I said. We're brother and sister, Patrick said, still laughing. But you don't look alike, I said. That's when Sam explained that they were actually stepsister and stepbrother, since Patrick's dad married Sam's mom. I was very happy to know that because I would really like to ask Sam on a date someday. I would, really. She's so nice. I feel the same. Let me pause there because I'm pretty surprised by what Charlie just said. As I'm reading, I'm on a lookout for what Charlie is doing that is different than what I would expect him to do. And I'm surprised that when Charlie says, I want to ask Sam out on a date. It's surprising to me because he just met her, and he is a shy person. I didn't think that he would want to do this right away. So when I find a contrasting contradiction, I'm going to ask myself, why is the character doing that? So think to yourself, why do you think Charlie is acting like this? What'd you say? Why do you think Charlie is wanting to take Sam on a date? Well, my brain was thinking that Charlie is shy, and I didn't think he would want to take a girl on a date right away. But maybe Sam is special. And Charlie can tell. Maybe he knows. Or maybe Charlie feels safe and accepted by this group, and he knows that Sam won't embarrass him. Let me get that down. Maybe Charlie feels safe or accepted by her. Okay, so I captured a little bit of my thinking. Let me keep reading. I'm going to keep reading, and I'd like for you to be on alert for contrasts and contradictions. This time, be on the lookout for contrasts and contradictions from other characters too, not just Charlie. If you notice one, just put a little mark in your book off to the side so that you can note it later. Okay? All right, I was stopped here. All right. I feel ashamed though because that night I had a weird dream. I was with Sam and we were both naked, and her legs were spread over the sides of the couch. And I woke up, and I had never felt that good in my life. But I also felt bad, because I saw her naked without her permission. I think that I should tell Sam about this, and I really hope that it does not prevent us from maybe making inside jokes of our own. It would be very nice to have a friend again. I'd like that even more than a date. Love always, Charlie. October 14th, 1991. Dear friend, do you know what masturbation is? I think you probably do because you're older than me. But just in case, I'll tell you. Masturbation is when you rub your genitals until you have an orgasm. Wow. I thought that in the movies and the television shows, when they talk about having a coffee break, that they should have a masturbation break. But then again, I think that would decrease productivity. I'm only being cute here. I don't really mean it. I just wanted to make you smile. I meant the wow, though. I told Sam that I dreamt that she and I were naked on the sofa, and I started crying because I felt bad. And do you know what she said? She laughed. Not a mean laugh either, a really nice, warm laugh. She said that she thought I was being cute, and she said it was okay that I had a dream about her, and I stopped crying. Sam then asked me if I thought that she was pretty, and I told her I thought that she was lovely. Sam then looked me right in the eye. You know you're too young for me, Charlie. You do know that. Yes, I do. I don't want you to waste your time thinking about me that way. I won't. It was just a dream. Sam then gave me a hug, and it was strange because my family doesn't hug a lot, except for my Aunt Helen. But after a few moments, I could smell Sam's perfume, and I could feel her body against me, and I stepped back. Whoa. Okay, I need to stop right here. First of all, that's pretty awkward. Did you see that contrast and contradiction, though? This time, it was Sam that did something that I did not expect. When Charlie tells her about his dream, I thought that she would be weirded out or angry. But she just laughed, and she said that it was okay. What? Why do you think Sam is acting like this? I want you to jot down some of your ideas on your note sheet. Did you think about it? Did you think about why Sam might be acting that way? When I ask myself the question, why is Sam acting that way? I my brain thinks that maybe she likes Charlie too. Or here's another thought. Maybe she just understands that it's not that big of a deal and she doesn't want to make Charlie feel embarrassed about something that he cannot control. Let me get some of that down. I like that. That's pretty good. Okay, so I guess it is possible that Sam likes Charlie, but then she also says like you're too young for me. Here's my other thought. It's a longer one. Maybe here's my other thought. Maybe she understands that it's not that big of a deal and she doesn't want Charlie to feel embarrassed about something that he cannot control. That actually matches up with what I said up here for both Patrick and Sam. So I'm really noticing a pattern where these new friends of Charlie's really accept him and don't make him feel bad about himself. Okay, now I'm going to continue reading until page 26. And I want you to find more contrast and contradiction moments, or moments where the characters act out of the ordinary or different than what you would expect. And when you find those moments, I want you to ask yourself the question: why did the character act that way? When you find one, jot down some of your notes, and you'll turn this in at the end of your class so that I can take a look at it. All right, let's keep reading here. Okay, I was right here. Sam, I'm thinking about you that way. She just looked at me and shook her head. Then she put her arm around my shoulder and walked me down the hallway. We met Patrick outside because they didn't like to go to class sometimes. They preferred to smoke. Charlie has a Charlie-esque crush on me, Patrick. He does, huh? I'm trying not to, I offered, which just made them laugh. Patrick then asked Sam to leave, which she did, and he explained some things to me, so I would know how to be around other girls and not waste my time thinking about Sam that way. Charlie, has anyone told you how it works? I don't think so. Well, there are rules that you follow here, not because you want to, but because you have to. You got it? I guess so. Okay, you take girls, for example. They're copying their moms, and magazines, and everything to know and act around guys. I thought about the moms and the magazines and the everythings, and the thought made me nervous, especially if it includes TV. I mean, it's not like in the movies where girls like assholes or anything like that. It's not that easy. It's just like somebody that can give them a purpose. A purpose? Right, girls like guys to be a challenge. It gives them some mold to fit in how they act, like a mom. What would a mom do if she couldn't fuss over you and make you clean your room? And what would you do without her fussing and making you do it? Everyone needs a mom, and a mom knows this, and it gives her a sense of purpose. You get it? Yeah, I said, even though I didn't. But I got it enough to say yeah and not be lying, though. The thing is, some girls think they can actually change guys. And what's funny is that if they actually did change them, they'd get bored. They'd have no challenge left. You just have to give girls some time to think of a new way of doing things. That's all. Some of them will figure it out here, some later, some never. I wouldn't worry about it too much. But I guess I did worry about it. I've been worrying about it ever since he told me. I look at people holding hands in the hallways, and I try to think about how it all works. At the school dances, I sit in the background and I tap my toe. And I wonder how many couples will dance to their song in the hallways. I see the girls wearing the guys' jackets, and I think about the idea of property. And I wonder if anyone is really happy. I hope they are. I really hope that they are. Bill looked at me looking at people after class. He asked me what I was thinking about, and I told him. He listened and he nodded and he made an affirmation sound. When I had finished, his face changed into serious talk face. Do you always think this much, Charlie? Is that bad? I just wanted someone to tell me the truth. Not necessarily. It's just that sometimes people use thought to not participate in life. Is that bad? Yes. I think I participate, though. Don't you think I am? Well, are you dancing at those dances? I'm not a very good dancer. Are you going on any dates? Well, I don't have a car. And even if I did, I can't drive because I'm 15. And anyway, I haven't met a girl I like except for Sam. But I'm too young for her, and she would always have to drive, which I don't think is fair. Bill smiled and continued to ask me questions. Slowly, he got to problems at home, and I told him about the boy who makes mixtapes hitting my sister, because my sister only told me not to tell mom or dad about it. So I figured I could tell Bill. He got this very serious look on his face after I told him, and he said something to me I don't think I will forget this semester or ever. Charlie, we accept the love we think we deserve. I just stood there quiet. Bill patted my shoulder and gave me a new book to read. He told me everything was going to be okay. I usually walk home from school because it makes me feel like I've earned it. What I mean is I want to be able to tell my kids that I walked to school like my grandparents did in the old days. It's odd that I'm planning on considering I've never even had a date, but I guess that makes sense. It usually takes me an extra hour or so to walk, as opposed to taking the bus, but it's worth it when the weather is nice and cool like it was today. When I finally got home, my sister was sitting in a chair. My mom and dad were standing in front of her, and I knew that Bill had called home and told them, and I felt terrible. It was all my fault. My sister was crying. My mom was very, very quiet. My dad did all the talking. He said that my sister was not allowed to see the boy who hit her anymore, and he was going to have to talk with the boy's parents tonight. My sister then said that it was all her fault, that she was provoking him, and my dad said that it was no excuse. But I love him! I had never seen my sister cry that much. No, you don't. I hate you. No, you don't. My dad can be very calm sometimes. He's my whole world. Don't ever say that about anyone again, not even me. That was my mom. My mom chooses her battles carefully, and I can tell you one thing about my family. When my mom does say something, she always gets her way, and this time was no exception. My sister stopped crying immediately. After that, my dad gave my sister a rare kiss on the forehead. Then he left the house, got in his Oldsmobile, and drove away. I thought he probably was going to talk to the boy's parents, and I felt very sorry for them. His parents, I mean, because my dad doesn't lose fights. He just doesn't. My mom then went to the kitchen to make my sister's favorite thing to eat, and my sister looked at me. I hate you. My sister said it different than she had said it to my dad. She meant it with me. She really did. I love you, was all I could say in return. You're a freak, you know that? You've always been a freak. Everyone says so. They always have. I'm not trying to be. Then I turned around and walked to my room and closed my door and put my head under my pillow and let the quiet put things where they are supposed to be. By the way, I figure you're probably curious about my dad. Did he hit us when we were kids? Or now even? I just thought you might be curious because Bill was, after I told him about that boy and my sister. Well, if you're wondering, he didn't. He never touched my brother or my sister, and the only time he ever slapped me was when I made my Aunt Helen cry. And once we were all calmed down, he got on his knees in front of me and said that his stepdad used to hit him a lot. And he decided in college when my mom got pregnant with my older brother that he would never hit his kids. And he felt terrible for doing it. And he was so sorry. And he would never hit me again. And he hasn't. He's just stern sometimes. Love always, Charlie. And that's where we'll stop today. Take a moment to jot down some contrasting contradictions that you saw. I noticed some from Charlie's sister and from Charlie's dad. Pause the video while you take down some of your notes and then come back so we can finish up. Okay, let's review what we did today that helped us make inferences and predictions about the book. First, we learned one text clue or signpost that authors give us. The name of this clue is Contrast and Contradictions. When I see a character acting in a way that I would not expect, then I need to stop and I need to ask myself a question. What is that question? Why is the character acting like this? When I can answer that question, then I'm learning more about the story and more about the character. As we continue to read The Perks of Being a Wallflower, we will learn more about the patterns called signposts that readers can use to make the text have meaning. It's time for you to write about what you read today. Choose one of the prompts on Google Classroom to respond to about today's reading. Remember, you are an awesome reader, and with hard work, you will only become more awesome. You rock. Bye-bye.